So here is some help for this lesson 1-4 homework assignment. And I've just went through the assignment, picked out certain problems, and hopefully this will help you out with the rest. So on all of problems 12 through 29, you're referring to this figure that I have placed on this slide. And let's just work our way through a few of these. Some of these I'm sure will be pretty easy. And I just went down near the bottom to maybe find a few that might cause questions. We'll see. Number 25, for example, name an angle with vertex Q that appears acute. Well, remember, acute means less than 90 degrees. And here's vertex Q, and that looks like that is the angle 4. So my answer, or Bob, you can do angles using that symbol, but I'll just do what your book does. And we will say that angle 4 is an angle that matches that description. All right, 27, name a point in the exterior of MRT. All right, so let me just highlight MRT for us. So there's a couple of choices here. Any angle, this would be the interior, and of course this is the exterior. So for the exterior, you could name point Q. You could also name point S. You don't have to name both, but those are two options that you have. Don't see any others. All right, 28, name a pair of angles that share exactly 1 point. Let me erase my lines here. A pair of angles, so really what you're looking for is a pair of angles that share the same vertex. Like, for example, this angle 8 right here shares the same vertex with angle 6. And that's the only point they share. So sharing exactly 1 point and that's all would mean basically sharing the vertex. So that's an option. You could say angle 6 and angle 8. I noticed that looks like there's probably another one or two just looking through here. I noticed that this angle would be at that vertex R, shares the same vertex with this angle. So just the two angles that I highlighted in red, they share exactly 1 point. So that's another possibility. Maybe you went ahead and answered, and those are just two that come up right off the top of my head as I look at the figure. Maybe you'll be able to find another pair, and when we check this in class, let's see if you're right. Okay, number 29, name a pair of angles that share more than 1 point. So this would be sharing a side. Okay, so for example, MPR, let's highlight this. Here's angle MPR, and it shares the side with PRQ. So here's PRQ. So this angle, which opens to the left, its vertex, it's pointing to the left, and this one to the right. Obviously, they're sharing the same side, PR. So that would be obviously more than 1 point. There's many points on that side. So this is a sample answer. You could say angle MPR and angle PRQ. So there could be more than one of those. As long as the two angles they're connected by the same side, then you are correct. All right, so that gets us through those problems. So let's move on to number 32. And number 32, you're going to have to pull out your protractor that I have given you in class. And I'll go ahead and pull mine up. All right, so here's my protractor, and I'll turn it so I can line it up with the bottom, that line GE. Needs to turn just a little bit. This will be easy to do for you guys. It up. This is the dial. So for you, you just take your protractor, and you'll need to extend. It tells you in the instructions to extend the rays so that the rays can actually hit the top part of your protractor where the angle measurements are actually. So for number 32, when we find out the measurement of LFK, so let me turn this around. And then move, you obviously don't have this, but when you move the dial, that ends up being a 45-degree angle. So number 32, there's a two-part answer here. You have to measure, after you copy the figure, you measure. So it's 45 degrees, and then classify. And of course, that would be acute. All right, and let's just go ahead and do GFH. So GFH, appreciate your patience bearing with me here, get this lined up. Close, I guess. And your protractor has numbers going across the top as well. So GFH, I need to move this over. Sorry about that. All right, and then I'll come over here to G and see what we got. I'm not lined up exactly. It should be 135 degrees. I must be off just by a little bit, but with your protractor, it should line up really well. So this should be 135 degrees, and that means it's obtuse. All right. The final set of problems, we are on page 42, and that last block of problems, it's the same figure. I just repeated it multiple times. We're given certain information, like on number 37, we're given the measurement of ABE, and we're also given EBF. Now, we haven't, I mentioned this in class, and you need to keep in mind, they didn't just come right out and tell you in the instructions that these two angles are congruent, but that's what these symbols mean. These two matching little curved arcs. This is an indication, if you're not already familiar with the fact that these two angles are congruent. Okay, and if we had another pair of congruent angles, so let's just take, for example, we're told in the instructions that BH, ray BH, bisects EBC. All right, so BH cuts EBC into two equal parts. So they could have just as easily done this, this angle, and I would use two lines is congruent with this angle. So that's just a way when you see these markings in pairs like that, it's indicating either congruent sides, which we will run into later, or in this case, it's talking about congruent angles. So it's understood by those markings that these two angles are the same, right, by these red marks. Okay, so we're supposed to find ABE. Well, ABE and EBF, we've already established, are the same. So I can write an equation that sets them equal to each other. Solve for n, so I subtract 2n from both sides. I add 13 to both sides, and I divide by 2. I got the value for n. N is 10. So if ABE is 2n plus 7, that means ABE is 27, which means that's our answer. We're supposed to find angle ABE, just input 10 in for n. So ABE is 27 degrees. All right, 39, measurement of ABF is 7b minus 24, and ABE is 2b. Then what is EBF? Well, once again, we're working with the knowledge that these are the same. All right, so if ABE is 7b minus 24, I'm sorry, ABF, the whole angle is 7b minus 24. And if we know ABE is 2b, then that means EBF also has to be 2b. So we can set up an equation that looks like this. 2 plus 2 is 4b. And I'll just go ahead and subtract 7b from both sides. So the value of b is 8. So if we, since we're given ABE, or we're given ABF actually, let's just use the ABE. ABE is 2b, so 2 times 8 is 16. So that means ABE is 16, so of course EBF also has to be 16. All right. A couple more from this section. If ABF is 8s, I know my s's sometimes look like 5s, but these are s's. ABF is 8s minus 6, and ABE is 2 times the quantity s plus 11, then what is EBF? So it's kind of like what we just did. ABE and EBF are the same. So 2 times s plus 11, or you could go ahead and distribute and just multiply the terms by 2, but I'll just do it like this. So there's ABE, there's EBF, added together should equal ABF. 2s plus 22, again, 4s plus 44. Subtract 4s from both sides, add 6 to both sides, divide by 4 on both sides. 50 divided by 4 makes s equal to 12 and a half. Okay, so we're trying to find EBF. If we know what ABE is, then we've got it. So ABE is 2 times, let's come up here, 2 times 12.5 plus 11. So 2 times this is 23.5, and 2 times 23.5 is 47. So EBF is 47 degrees. All right, and now we got one more using the same figure. EBC, this big angle, this obtuse angle, is 3r plus 10, and ABE is 2r minus 20. Well, we're told in the original instructions that BA and BC are opposite rays, which means this forms a line which measures at 180 degrees. So we can take our two angles, EBC, and add that to ABE, and those two together, added together, should equal 180. Combine like terms, 5r minus 10, add 10 to both sides. So we get r is equal to 38, and it's asking us to find EBF. But they told us what ABE is, and remember, these are congruent, judging by the markings. So let's find out what ABE is, and then that'll give us the answer for EBF. So substitute 38 in for R and simplify. So 2 times 38 is 76 minus 20. So angle EBF is 56 degrees. All right, so hopefully that helps in completing the rest of the assignment. And as usual, these problems will, pretty good chance they're going to show up on quizzes or tests, so make sure you're able to do them on your own. I hope this video helps you be able to do that. And if you have any questions, let me know.